Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 24 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Penteleresco. I write stuff and I podcast too. And this has been a very interesting week. This is the last of the literary weeks. This is a literature podcast. I should go into detail here. But for the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing things away from literature with one notable exception. I'm going to be doing a podcast about a local bookstore because I believe in supporting local, not just with food, but with art as well. And so I'll be doing that. I'll be doing a game store. I'll be doing two bands, a director, and my dad, who happens to be big into alternative health. He is next week. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that episode at the end of the show. I'm not trying to go... It's because it is a different kind of show. Without giving too much away, my dad has been doing some really interesting research about some of the things that have been going on in the world. And like I said, what he has found is kind of scary. And like I said, I'm not going to be selling you anything one way or the other. That's not the goal. The goal is to make people aware of some of the things that are going on the planet today. And like I said, I'm currently looking at some stuff to give some places to start in terms of research, in terms of information for people to start looking. Just because I feel that due to the nature of the information, there has to be a starting point for people to look at, and I figure I'm going to at least give them that much next week. Beyond that, it's going to be a great little chat. I'm going to get very personal as well, talking about what happened to me for the first end of December, January, and February, and the steps I've taken to get better, and the struggles I still have. I'm walking, I'm upright and like now, but there are things I have become accustomed to, unfortunately, and it just seems to be part of life. That all said, it's going to be a pretty interesting talk, and I can't wait for that next week. This week, though, is my last literature podcast, and my original plan involved a comic book, because I like comics, and I don't feel I do enough of that stuff on here. So I wanted to do somebody in the comic book industry. My original choice fell through. I was going to use this week's guest. I was hoping to do on a later date. Pardon me. However, couple things. First and foremost, Kasey Pierce is actually super talented. Much like me, she does a multitude of disciplines. She has done a short story collection called Touch of Madness. She's currently doing a comic book series called Norah, which is available in the U.S. Me and her are planning on doing a top secret book exchange, not so top secret book exchange anyway. Because I really want to read her stuff, and like I said, we got along really well, and like I said, it was refreshing to talk to her. And like I said, it was funny. The first 20 minutes or so, we were trying to get the podcast to work because Skype, for whatever reason, would not record our conversation. So I had to end up rebooting my Skype, and then we finally got through, and we started chatting, and you know, it was definitely a good conversation, as you'll hear in the next little bit. Beyond that, this has been me. I've been acquiring interviews for the last little bit because I'm going to be going to a serious writing phase really soon. I'm catching as many interviews as I can between now and April 14th because I don't want to be chasing interviews down for a good long while. And like I said, I got a really cool collection of people. The list is incredible. I have people like Mike Plested, G.W. Renshaw, Mackenzie Fisk. I'm hoping to grab Margaret Carolus. I'm hoping to grab that. She's a hope. I haven't confirmed that. Jimmy Robinson's going to do the podcast. Hannibal Taboo's going to do a podcast. Like I said, it's a really cool. I have been very fortunate with the people I have been talking to. And something has happened in the last little bit since I've been doing this podcast, and since I've been doing interviews for the last year or so. I've been getting a lot more thank yous, which, again, to me is a really surreal thing. Anyway, I just got a good look at my only Kickstarter. I plan on breaking forward. So, but beyond that, no, I just want to say, yeah, it's been great because I've had this wonderful chance to chat with so many really good people, and I'm getting thanked for it. And really, I'm the one that's really honored about all the stuff I do because, nobody has to talk to me. Nobody has to give me the time of day. Nobody has to, say one thing or the other. And it's funny. I don't mean people are getting nervous talking to me, which to me is a strange thing because I don't really see myself as anybody other than just a guy that who's ultimately a fan, and that's pretty much the thing. It's been a pleasant thing this week to see and do. So yeah, I'm going to be going all on and about trying to get as many different interviews as possible, and for the next few weeks. And then once that's all done, I will be going on a long break from interviews for a bit, just while I focus on my next two books. I'm well into both of them. I'm pleasantly surprised where they're going. I'm hoping to have some really cool things to talk about in May. With one of them, I'm hoping. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, like I said, things are moving and growing and growing and going. I'm going to be doing a little bit more work on the day job in the short term. Nothing big. I just want to get ahead on some things, and so a day here, a day there is kind of what I'm shooting for, and that's the deal, and that's the plan, and yeah. So, but all in all, things are proceeding as planned. I mean, literally, I'm writing about a parasol duel in a bar. So it features somebody I know, and she jumped at the chance, which I think is really cool to me. Anyway, so, and it's, like I said, it's just really good to meet so many cool people. So let's talk about Kasey really quick. Very vibrant person. Lots of cool expressions. She's very expressive. She expresses herself well. As a person, there's a lot of life. Like we actually talked about the video when we were doing the podcast conference, and yeah, she's just really, really full of life. And it's like I said, it was incredibly refreshing to be around somebody that's yeah, I'll just say it. Somebody that is as aware of and awake and things she's overcome has just really, really impressed me. So Kasey, if you're listening to this before you get to the interview part, you rock, and I'm really hoping to see more from you. And I think you guys will want to hear more from her. So we're going to go to the interview right now, right after our sponsors, which at this point is just me. But that's fine. One day. Tired of buying t-shirts, coffee cups, and other memorabilia that all podcasts seem to have? I sincerely hope not, because I'm jumping aboard this gravy train right now. That's right. You can be the proud owner of a Just Joshing t-shirt, photographic print, and coffee cup at my Redbubble store. Redbubble has one-click ordering and will ship anywhere in North America. Check out http://worldwideweb.redbubble.com/people/jpentelleresco for more details. Wonderful recorder.
Okay, let me see if it'll work with the headphones.
Okay. So, yeah, I gotcha. Wow, magic. Oh, no, I don't want to update my Skype recorder right now. We got more important things to do, like podcasts with the wonderful Miss Kasey here.
Hi. Can you hear me now? Oh, good.
Oh my gosh, what'd you do, or was it just me?
I think it just needed a reboot. That's all. Just a glitch.
It's a glitch in the system.
Oh.
It's a matrix. It's evil. 1 calorie full of time away. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am rocking and rolling, and you should, that scowl you had when things weren't working, you should use that in like a bio something, because it looks like diabolical, a little bit diabolical. And I'm serious. It's like, that is awesome.
But I can't remember what I did.
So you had like, you got your lips were kind of crunched together. Yeah, like something like that. Yeah, almost like that. That was awesome. Still is awesome.
It's funny because I don't know. Do you know Jay Fosgate?
No, I do not.
Jay Fosgate illustrates My Little Pony, and
awesome.
He also is doing the new Rocket and Groot comic. And we get together for lunch every so often, and he'll just draw all the weird, stupid faces that I make because I'm so like.
Well, you're so expressive, and I mean, this is a good thing. No, I mean, there's life in those eyes. There's life in you, and it's great. And I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not trying to just to score points for the sake of scoring points. I'm just like, it's true. You have a very expressive voice, and it comes out. So.
Well, thank you. How come I can't see your video?
Yeah, because I didn't turn it on. You want to see me? I'll let you see me here.
Yeah, because I don't like talking to a picture.
Oh, okay.
It's weird.
Fair enough.
There we go. Okay, now. All right, thank you.
So no problem. I am here to please. Although I wish I could move my camera. That's I don't know how to actually do that. So.
You're like Wilson from Home Improvement.
Mm-hmm. Well, mostly here. It's just one of those, Live Central, you evil thing. Please move away. There you go. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Tired. I lifted a lot of things today. And it keeps just popping up menu over and over and over again like a broken record. Here it goes again. Really?
Oh, you can't hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. I've shut this Live Central thing down like 4 times.
Yeah.
And there. Skype's weird. What can I say? So, but anywho, let's see here. To put this in perspective, I just lifted my day job is I deal in the courier business, so I deal all the wonderful stuff from Canada Post through my company, and so it was today I did like 8 cans. Average can was probably about 2,500 pounds, maybe a little bit more. So, yeah, I have no desire to lift weights. And this is why I have no desire to lift weights. Like, you want me to lift more?
Yeah, I dig it. I dig it.
Yeah. So miss muscles. So because I saw you, like, you work out, you massage people, right?
Yes.
You're a massage therapist.
That is my day job.
Yeah, it's your day job. And I know this because I have a friend who's a massage therapist. She gets her butt kicked.
Oh, yeah.
Because it drains you dry. Like, when you were talking about last week, you were being sick, I'm like, I know what happened.
Yeah.
You went right back into the massage therapist. You didn't take a day off, so right. You'd been exposed to so many people. They were like, "Oh my God, Norah's awesome and amazing and stuff," and which is a great high. Don't get me wrong; it's a really cool high, and you deserve it because you work your ass off for it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, but then you come back and now you're dealing with how many people you deal with there? 3, 5, 6 people, something like that.
4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay, so you deal with 4 or 5 people.
A day.
A day, anywhere between 60 and 120 minutes, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
You fix people, you get them realigned and stuff like that. And if you do any other kind of disciplines, like say you do Reiki, let's say you do acupuncture, acupressure, like just different things. You're using all these things when you're going. So probably around Tuesday or Wednesday, you did this for about 2-3 days, and you're just like, I don't feel so good, and that
right.
and that would be why, right? Because
the immune system definitely took a hit. And,
yeah.
The con crud is real. I mean, it is with thousands of people, and I didn't stack up on the vitamin C and hand sanitizer. So, and I didn't believe in con crud until last year's Grand Rapids when everybody got it. It was horrible. But.
Well, no, it happens. My first big show was Phoenix, Arizona. Mm-hmm. I'm from around, like, my family's based out of Detroit. This is why I'm no Dirk, because I've seen him, like, when I go there, I see him sometimes once in a blue moon when he's doing a signing or something like that.
Okay.
Well, I met Dirk online at through his Newsarama column years and years and years ago, and I was doing.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, no, I've been doing interviews for 12 years now, give or take. So it's why I'm comfortable talking to complete strangers, which is what like, I mean, I talked to you a little bit on Facebook, but we don't know each other very well, and so I just was like, okay. And so I met him there, but again, I happen sometimes to be in Detroit when he's in Detroit. So like, because that's where my family goes. So I always, when I get a chance to go back, I go back.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, he's a frequent Michigander.
yes, he is. Well, you're in Michigan, like near Monroe, right? So
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
yeah, kind of sort of. I looked up where you are on the map based on where your workplace is. I'm like, okay, that's near Monroe. That's near what the heck do I want to say? It's right where like 275 ends is where you're by, and I'm like, okay, I know where you
Yeah,
are.
I mean, we're probably 20 minutes from the Ohio border.
Yeah, about that, which is about right. So.
Yeah.
So you are a Michigander yourself, although this you're like a borderline. You're like a border person, I guess, for lack of a better term.
No, I mean, I'm Michigander through and through, a downriver girl, as you would say.
Okay.
So yeah, this is downriver's 13 small suburban cities that line the Detroit River, and we are, well, my generation is the sons and daughters of auto workers.
Ah, yes, which makes sense. Although at this point, there's not much auto left in comparison to where it was. I was living in Windsor, Detroit, now 96, 97. I was working at that point for in the auto a little bit and through the warehousing. I literally got to watch, like, that was the last big peak, and then just went to
Mm.
where it is now. Which is a lot less. I know one or two people left in Chrysler in Windsor. Again, not quite the same thing, but it's pretty much the impact is they're the only people left that are still making anywhere near what they used to make back in the old days. So,
Right.
anywho, we're not here to talk about the wonderful automotive industry and the crisis of Detroit. We're here to talk about Miss Kasey Pierce, ladies and gentlemen, and Miss Kasey, as she does, is a massage therapist. So I have this question. We'll start with this. Well, it's an interesting one. Let's say Norah takes off. You make jillions and jillions of dollars, right? And you're at the point where you don't need to be a massage therapist anymore. Would you still do massage therapy?
Oh, that's tough to say. I find massage extremely rewarding, and it would be hard for me to give it up completely. And I really don't think that I would. I wouldn't give it up completely. I am actually, for lack of a better term, I'm self-employed now. I rent, so I enjoy that freedom. So I think maybe I would just cut back. But no, I've always loved massage. I'm very passionate about it, and I love my clients, and I just can do that to them.
I had a hunch just based on like our Facebook conversation. I don't think you could completely walk away from it. So, but that does lead into this. Oh, but just on your day job before we get to your comics, do you just do straight massage? Do you do like acupressure, acupuncture? Like what disciplines do you, or
I use acupressure in terms of trigger point therapy. I also do Reiki. I'm Reiki level 3. It only goes up to 4, and 4 is master. And I would say the only reason getting master would be to teach it, and I have no desire to teach it.
okay? Skype
We had
decided.
lost connection for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skype was Eve. So yeah, just repeat the answer. I'll edit this out later.
Oh, that's fine. Um, I do Reiki. I'm only a level 3. A level 4 would be a master where you would be able to teach it, but I have no desire to teach it. I use acupressure in terms of trigger point therapy, but my specialty is deep tissue sports, myofascial release, things like that. I've worked on a lot of athletes, um, but right now I primarily work on teachers because I accept their insurance. So.
Awesome. That's actually really cool. No, okay. I have an idea what I would expect if I ever do get a massage from you. Actually, I'd be sore, but I would feel a lot better. Or depending on the day. Like I said, I have a friend that does massage therapist, and what she does is she kind of lets the body, like, listens to the body what the body actually needs, whatever that might be. Maybe like the back's not aligned right, or maybe it's the shoulder, maybe it's the.
Oh yeah, definitely, because it's all about rebalancing the body. That's the end goal, rebalancing the body in response to the nervous system. I mean, the brain wants your eyes to fixate on the horizon, so the autonomic nervous system will kick in and make certain muscles even go into protective spasm just to make sure that that happens. So we're not always balanced. We're not always in a state of homeostasis, and it's amazing what you get used to.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I remember one massage I went and did. I had this great pain in my back, and they were massaging. I had so much pain in my neck, right? I didn't even realize it, right? And it was like I had so much pressure and stress going on. I didn't even notice the neck anymore. Just the back was the only sign. Like way back in the day. But I mean, it's just the body is a resilient machine, but it does have its limitations. And sometimes what it does when you're in that much stress, it just shuts down that whatever is going on. So
Right, right. And it's not just good physically. I mean, it's just great for overall mental health. I would say, even grieving. If you'd be surprised at things that people say on the table or the emotions they express. I am a highly anxious person sometimes, and when I first get on the table, for me, I start laughing uncontrollably. But that's an emotional release,
I
and
can
a
see
lot of
that.
people cry, and that's okay too. As like Dirk Manning says, as long as you felt something.
That's right. That's right. Oh, well, no, it's good, and you're doing something that's actually really productive. And like I said, I don't blame you for not. If your comic book stuff takes off, um, I'm assuming it's doing okay. So considering what I've been seeing on your page in the last little bit, you're starting to get notice and notoriety and fame and stuff. So who knows where that will lead? And straight up, me to you, I wish you the best on that. I hope it
Thank
all
you.
works out.
Thank you very much.
So, but as we get in, so is this your first comic, Nora, or was this
This is my first comic book. Before that, I had published Pieces of Madness. Actually, I didn't. Rocketing Studios did. Pieces of Madness is a five-story horror anthology. It's a prose book of the insane, cultist, and paranormal. I always say it's sort of a Clive Barker meets Twilight Zone, and I did not make the Clive Barker comparison. Actually, go on Amazon, you can read reviews like that.
Mhm.
But Dirk Manning graced me with a foreword for that as well. So that became my first solo published work. Before that, I had written forewords for like Josh Werner's werewolf novella Rampant, and more recently, I wrote an epilogue for Jay Fosgate for his resurrection of his morbid satirical humor, Dead Duck. It's very much a throwback to his college days. And of course, he's an illustrator for My Little Pony, and also the one working on Rocket and Groot at the moment for Marvel.
so,
I'm very excited for
so,
him.
that's awesome. Who knows? Maybe one day you might go to you. Hey, let's do a story about Rocket and Groot and Marvel, and you'd be like, yes,
Hey, I'm all
yeah.
about it. It's funny because we had sat down before and we were going to talk about collaborating, but it's weird because he's got this Warner Brothers esque um, cartoony style, if you will. He's
Mhm.
brilliant, and then I'm on the other far end where I'm very heavy. I'm a very heavy writer,
Well,
and it's
it's an evil little system, this Skype. Sometimes it goes, nope, yep, I heard some of that. I heard you're a dark, heavy writer, and I was like, ah, no.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a real dark, and heavy writer, and I mean, I can't help it. That just kind of comes out.
Hmm.
And J5 is kind of on a different end of the spectrum. But we will collaborate one day. I'm very certain of that. It's just the wrong time, and there's no story yet. So
No,
we'll know when it's right.
it's fair. So wait, dark, heavy. Do you mean like horror kind of deal? Is that what you mean by that, or
Yeah,
is that?
horror and sci-fi. Yeah, I think that you have to be in the mood to read something that I wrote.
Oh, well, I was going to ask you about this off the air, but I'd trade you. I would love to read something of your. I would actually love to read the comic. I got my own stuff too, so I
Oh,
just
wonderful.
yeah. Um, again, they're tooting your horn, but my horn. I got two books under my belt. They're illustrated epic poetry. The Watcher in 30 seconds about a slave boy that kills his dragon masters and goes into a post-apocalyptic wasteland, discovering that there's more to life than being a slave. And then Stormdancer, which Dirk wrote he was nice enough to write like a review of Watcher and Stormdancer like as a back like a quote. Um, It's a sequel. You don't need to read the first one, but it's like peanut butter and jelly. They go well together. And it's about the Watcher, without spoiling book one. The Watcher goes missing, and the friends he meets in book one go on their own post-apocalyptic journey to rescue them. And along the way, discover how to overcome loss and tragedy and what family is really all about.
I like that.
Yeah.
It highlights the human condition, which I'm all about.
Well, horror, okay, and this is where I say maybe you're not as far as you think. Horror and kid stuff work great together. They actually are, like, if you think of the Grimm's fairy tales, for example, they are horror books, but they're for kids, right? And what you, in horror, and I've talked about this with Dirk on the podcast, I think good horror, if done right, it makes you believe. It makes you believe just for a minute, just about what is possible. Like, you're not necessarily. It's not about necessarily that situation. It's about that feeling, that moment when you're like, oh my gosh, this could be real, and that's when you hook a reader. I might be wrong, but I find.
No, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Definitely, children are blindly vulnerable. So I think that's how most readers go into stories. So obviously they can relate to the mind of a child if they pick up the book.
Yeah. Well, very much so. So, so in that case, who are your influences besides Dirk?
Heinlein.
Ooh.
Very heavily influenced by Heinlein.
Old school or new school?
Oh, old school.
Okay, so
Stranger in a Strange Land, Starship Troopers is one of my favorite books.
Love the Puppet Masters. Have you read that one?
Yes.
Yeah, I love the Puppet Masters. That one's good. My favorite short of his is called The Roads Must Roll. Have you heard of that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, that one's my favorite of his. But he has a lot of really good ones, like Troopers you mentioned. The Moon is a Harsh Mistress made me laugh, but in a good way. It was a really interesting way. It's like, this is the most absurd world domination trick I've ever seen, but this is awesome. I like that one. I liked from Post. I didn't mind Job, a Comedy of Justice, although not the same as his earlier stuff. Stranger in a Strange Land seems to be that magical borderline between old Heinlein and new Heinlein, and he's like I said, he is without a doubt one of the. He's definitely one of the best all-time sci-fi writers. I'm more of an Asimov guy myself, but I like for me, my favorite stuff. I love The Foundation. Foundation and Empire is still my all-time favorite Asimov book, although Asimov was just an amazing writer, period. One of my favorite little things about Asimov was he did a collection. It's a nonfiction/fiction collection called The Edge of Tomorrow. And in The Edge of Tomorrow, I still remember Euclid's Fifth. I was 12 when I read that, and I got it. And it was
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, no, but he was that good. Like for me, as a writer, my goal, if I do any kind of writing, is try to be as clear as he was. And he made it look so easy, but not just in science fiction. He wrote about everything. Shakespeare, the Bible. He wrote about, he wrote lessons for kids. It didn't matter. It just, he could write.
It's funny because that you mentioned the Bible. Jason Clarke of An Elegant Weapon, very popular podcast in Canada, when he read Pieces of Badness, he said,
It did it again.
It's okay. I can repeat it. I saw it coming. Jason Clarke of An Elegant Weapon had said, nothing cements my atheism more than this book. Pieces of Badness, I don't know what will. And that's funny because I've used the Bible a lot as a catalyst, very much inspired by it. It's just funny what people take away. But regardless, he loved it.
No, it's good. So what's your favorite stuff, the Old Testament or New?
Oh, well, if you're looking for savagery, you're looking for Old Testament.
Right. I'm working on a novel. This is a long-term project, but one of the few books that's not talked about very much in the Bible is the Song of Solomon. Very few people look at God as a jilted lover. So I had this thought, like, we're doing a story somewhere up the way where I talk about the fact that we build another Tower of Babel, and we actually go into heaven and find that God has abandoned it, right, because of a broken heart.
Aww.
Yeah.
Disappointment in the human race.
No, not even just disappointment in the human race. Just he just got tired of being rejected. Like I said, most people. I said most people don't look at God in that light. Like people look at God as like the wrathful, or God the Father, or God the merciful, God the just. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at the Bible, like the Old Testament, even the New Testament, it's a never-ending struggle between us trying to understand where God is coming from, and God's struggle to understand where we're coming from. There's a gap there. You see it, like Moses is like one of the best examples of this, because he fought with God the whole book, right? You look at Exodus, when Moses was in there, Moses fought with him. Like there's this one scene where God said, "I will make these people of stones, and they will be better than the people you have." And Moses' response was, "If you do this, people will say you failed." Right? And they fought off and on for literally as long as Moses led the people of Israel.
There's an argument that man's pride has put up that barrier between us and God in terms of spiritual language.
No, it's true, but you read books like Isaiah, you read Hosea, you read I can't remember the story where God tells a guy to marry a whore. I can't remember the actual Bible name off the top of my head, but there's and it's an interesting take on, but like I said, it's a take on God that very few people look at. And I'm like, and if you read Song of Solomon, it's a love story. It's also where arguably the first porn comes from, because there's some really, really graphic scenes in there. But there's also, it's a declaration of love from God to the people of Earth. It's beautiful, and I was like, that, most people don't see God that way anymore, right? That idea doesn't really resonate. But it's like, well, if you have a broken heart, what if God's heart breaks to the point where it doesn't mend, it doesn't again, what will happen to us? What would change? Where would it go? It's a story, right? But it's an idea. It's just like, that maybe God finds a way to forgive. Maybe there's something in what He said that makes it come back, or maybe He makes something new to fall in love with over again. Who knows, right? It's just, again, this is a long. I'm gonna when I do that story, it's gonna be me going back into some of those stories, some of those kind of stories, some of the things God said in the like Jesus says in the New Testament about salvation and freedom, and just some of the things. Man, like today, I would argue that, if we're going to get into this, I'd argue that the biggest thing that separates God from people today is what people see advertised as God, right? Mm-hmm. More than necessarily what God is or is. I think most people, if you read people don't read the Bible, but really what the Bible is about is it's about God freeing people that have been oppressed over and over again. The Israelis first, and then eventually the rest of the world. Look at what Paul, right? It's about overcoming oppression. It's about finding freedom. It's about, and this is just this is what God, like, these people should aspire to. But if you look at the Sunday morning sermons you see, and sometimes some of the other things you see, I think what's presented, especially to the North American audience and what it's about, I think are very, very different. Again, this is just maybe my opinion, but
it's all about perspective.
Yeah, I'm sorry we went in that direction. I don't know.
It's okay.
But, yeah, it's an interesting take. So I guess are you a believer, or are you an atheist?
I won't discuss that.
Okay, fair enough. I won't. No, to be honest, it's. As long as you're cool with it, it's all good to me. We
can discuss something like that off air.
No, it's fair. No, it's cool. We can do that. No problem. I just figured I'd ask, since it's we went in that direction.
Sorry, I pinched a nerve in my back 2 days ago, and I'm trying to adjust myself.
It's hard to do when you're by yourself. What can you do? Whereabouts in your back?
Round boy.
Well, I try, like I said, when I get pinched things in the back, I try to find the spots. Okay, where's that spot? Okay. Okay, I think I fixed it. Hopefully I fixed it.
This has been going on for
2 days?
72 hours, yeah.
When it happened, did you just massage somebody a certain way and just kind of happen, or was
I woke up like that.
Ooh, okay.
So tomorrow I'm getting an adjustment.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, my bestie there. Let's see. What else can we wonderfully chat about here? What do you prefer, prose or comic? Do you like the collaboration?
Oh, good question.
I know.
And okay, now when it came to writing comic scripts, I was at first really intimidated. I'm like, I don't think panel by panel. I can't do that. You know, da 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 da. Well, I sat down, wrote a comic script, and then, having that relationship with the illustrator, I said, I'm not married to the way these panels are. Use your discretion here. That's fine. Like, that's our job. We to use our discretion. And I'm like, wow, this is a lot easier. It was a lot easier to me. It took some pressure off me knowing that I could kind of lean on somebody else and didn't have to be grammatically on point with all my descriptions because nobody's going to read that part, which is fine. And I leave personal notes from the illustrators all the time because I just wrote a graphic novel as well that's coming out later this year with John Medekine. And anyways, but when I did the Kickstarter and people were paying for the flash fiction for me to write them a custom prose story, I got a little bit intimidated because I'm like, man, I haven't done this in a minute. But once I went to it, it was like riding a bike. I was like playing the piano and I was able to paint with words again. So I felt liberated in that sense too. So which one do I prefer? I can't pick. But I will tell you the pros and cons of each one.
Okay, so what are your pros and cons?
Well, the pros being that it's that grammatical pressure to, and to make sure that you are coming across the way you want to, being perceived the way you want to in a story to the audience when you're writing a prose, because you are the one painting. You are painting with your words. You have to make sure that it's not just you that understands the perspective, but you have to walk away 7 times and come back 7 times and reread it with blind eyes to make sure that everyone is on the same page, no pun intended. But then with comic scripts, you have a great, relationship with the illustrator. Most people do. You have that lean back and everything. However, you are limited to what you can say, and but at the same time, I find that a good thing because I like when panels don't have dialogue. I like that dramatic tension. I like the art to speak for itself. So there's your pros and cons.
Well, it's just, yeah, they're just interesting. They're just interesting tools. Like I find with comics, I found when I do them is you're playing with the idea of motion. It's basically what you're doing. You're trying to give an illusion of some movement or action going on because you're taking stills between taking if you put their name about still images to tell a story, which is really cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is, and illustrators and really good illustrators are amazing because they can do it and they do it in their sleep, and you're like, whoa. I draw stick figures that revolt, and you can wow. Anyways, right? There's that, but so it's cool that way, and it's cool to play with in that it's what you don't show is almost as valuable as what you show.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's have you ever seen the movie The Haunting, the original one?
Oh, I have not.
It's all based on the premise that what's the most scary and what affects you the most is the idea of what you don't see. And it's a great flick. Watch the original. The remake is absolute garbage. And I'm not trying to get all shove up my glasses fangirl about it, but it really was awful. But yeah, 1963 or 65, I believe, The Haunting.
Okay.
Really. Russ Tamblyn is in it.
Who directed that? Do you remember?
I can't remember. I just remember Russ Tamblyn, who was of course Tom Thumb, and he was in West Side Story.
Okay.
Curly hair.
Okay. All right. No, I'm just thinking here. No, it's yeah, it's another thing. I think
based on a Shirley Jackson novel. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that.
No, that's cool. It's cool.
The Haunting of Hill House.
All right. Well, I didn't actually know that at all. Actually, it was based on that. So hey, I learned something new. Well, Skype is being the devil. And metaphorically speaking, it just freezes and unfreezes, but that's okay. Well, okay. I got this program called Audacity. It'll fix it all. But all right. So Nora's your current work, right? So
Yes.
if you were to pitch this to me in an elevator, what would you say to people?
Norah Seeshelm is a coma fisher for hire. She has the ability to retrieve you from or help you cross over during a coma. She obtained the ability while working in pathogenic development for the CIA.
Wow, that's actually really, really, really cool.
Thank you. I said it at C2E2 over 1,000 times.
Well, yeah, no, it's really cool because the concept's intriguing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this and ask a slightly deeper question. Why did she do it?
Oh, you're gonna have to read it to find out.
Oh, okay.
Because that's I will tell you that is part of the 4-issue saga, is that each issue is not a coma case. However, each issue also is a flashback and in a window to what actually happened before, leading up to why she does this for a living.
Because they see that to me is the story. I mean, as cool as the concept is, the story there is like, why is she helping people? What did she see?
Yeah, we're going in reverse.
No, it's cool, so but I mean,
that's
cool. No, that sounds really cool, and I definitely, like I said, unfortunately, I live in Canada, and if you look at our dollar, you laugh at it for really, really obvious reasons. So I couldn't really do Kickstarter. I can't do Kickstarter this year because of until my dollar comes back. So.
Oh, that's a bummer. Well, that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Obviously, you're supportive, so.
Oh, well, I'm trying to be. So I'm trying to be. Yeah. So, okay. So, man, there's a lot I could talk to you about, but we got probably say a good half hour of conversation here. So before we go, is Norah available anywhere besides like Kickstarter? Is it available on Amazon, anything like that?
Oh, it is on SourcePointPress.com.
Okay.
And of course, I will be at Taylortown Trade Center this weekend for Pure Michigan Comic Con, and I will have it there as well.
Okay.
Or you can catch me at Toledo's Fantasticon, Indiana Comic Con, and then of course Motor City.
Okay. So we are getting to the wonderful point, ladies and gentlemen, where if people want to find you, people want to say, hey, your book's amazing, or hey, what else do you do? Where can they find you?
You can find me at CosmicKasey.com, both with K's. You can find me at Facebook.com/CosmicKasey. My Twitter handle is at CosmicKasey. And my Instagram is at KCDWrites, not as in women's lib, but as in actual physical writing.
Okay. That note, I think we have an interview. 1 second here. So that was Kasey Pierce. I want to take the opportunity to thank her very much for being on the show. So Kasey, if you're listening to this, thank you very, very much. Outside of that, check out her books. Norah is available pretty much right now. Touch of Madness, her first book, is also available, and maybe you should get her to actually read it. I think that'd be really cool to see her do a reading of it. I probably should have thought about that before the podcast, but that's another thing altogether. You can find her on Twitter, you can find her on Facebook, you can find her on her webpage. She's definitely a rising star and definitely worth watching in the industry. It was a real pleasure to chat with her. Next week we go out into non-literature month, I should say. Not month. My next month's guests are, with the exception of one, have nothing to do really with literature in any way, shape, or form. The one exception, of course, being Owl's Nest Books. The bookstore was nice enough to let me be part of their show. And that'll be week 2. Next week is going to be my dad. We're going to be talking about some alternative health stuff. We're going to be talking about what's been going on in the world today. I'm going to warn people right now, that conversation will not be for everybody. A lot of people look at alternative health kind of in a negative light. It's not as negative as it advertised. There's definitely chicanery in the industry. I'm not going to deny that, but there are a lot of good people that try to help people and then provide good alternatives out there, and we're going to talk about some of those things, and we're going to talk about my dad and what he does, and it's going to be a neat podcast. But if you're not into that kind of thing, come back next week when we do Owl's Nest Books. But either way, I promise you, next week will be very, very, very educational. And on that note, though, we have approached the end of this week's Just Joshing. Thank Kasey Pierce once again. I thank you all for listening. Buy some merch, buy a book, buy Storm Dancer, buy The Watcher, Let me know what you think. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, just don't tell anybody else. Just me. All right. On that note, guys, stay inspired out there and have a good day.